are watching Silkway TV channel. I'm Baljan Samigulina, and today we'll be commentating on state visit of President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, to Kazakhstan. We keep broadcasting live from our studio in Astana, and today I'm joined by Inskander Akylbeav, foreign policy analyst. We will discuss current state and perspectives of bilateral relations between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Inskander, thank you for joining me now.
Thank you very much.
And before the welcoming ceremony at Akorda started, let me remind that President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, has arrived to Astana yesterday evening, and he was greeted by the Kazakh President Tokayev at the international airport of Astana. Now we can see that the cortege of Uzbek leader is approaching the territory of Kazakh President's residence in Astana, and the trade turnover between two countries last year reached $4.4 billion US, which is quite a lot for both countries, but now the countries are aiming to reach even $10 billion US. And before the welcoming ceremony, also let me remind that this is the second visit of President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, to Kazakhstan for the last 4 years, and they do have regular contacts in both bilateral and multilateral platforms. And now we can see already the car has arrived to the territory of Akorda, and here he is, the President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, is entering to the residence of President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. It is expected that important documents are going to be signed as a result of this visit, and the Uzbek leader, it was early announced that he will pay a state visit to Kazakhstan for 2 days, starting from yesterday and continuing today. And apart from bilateral discussions with President Tokayev, Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev will also take part at the 6th consultative meeting of the heads of states of Central Asia, which is set to take part in Astana too. Yes, now we can see that both leaders are inside of the Akorda residence, and Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev is being greeting the Kazakh delegation with who they will be discussing the bilateral agreements that come upon by this time. And the two leaders are now walking inside of the residence, and some experts call Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan as closest allies, as brotherhood nations and strategic partners. How would you call them, Inskander?
I fully agree with this statement, because Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan are two main players in Central Asia, but at the same time we are sharing not only the economic and strategic partnership and interest in the region, but at the same time we share the common history and common culture. So in this respect, I think it's very much important.
For those who have just joined us, it is Silkwood TV channel. Keep broadcasting live from studio in Astana, from the Akylbeav residence, where President Tokayev is greeting his Uzbek counterpart Shavkat Mirziyoyev, who is paying a state visit to Astana these days. And apart from bilateral discussions between each other, the two leaders will take part also at the 6th consultative meeting of Central Asian states, as well as meet with the Prime Minister of Japan 9th of August. Trade turnover between two countries last year reached $4.4 billion, and in last meeting in 2022, two countries, in the presence of both leaders, signed 6 major investment projects that now we have been working and witnessing. And what do you think, Inskander, what exactly results and what exactly documents are we going to see to be signed as the result of this visit?
This is a visit that will, I think, solidify our future trajectory for economic cooperation between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan in general sense. But if you look into the details, certainly we do not know the concrete numbers, but I think they are going to increase, certainly in the area of trade cooperation, and certainly improving the business and border business trade relations in that regard. Though I think it's very much important to focus on agriculture in this respect, and to certainly discuss and provide concrete solutions for many topics related to water security and food security, and especially important to focus on the transport and transit roads between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan.
So yes, which will pay attention for the Central Asian region in general, I think. Speaking of trade, in 2023, the trade turnover, as I already mentioned, reached $4.4 billion, but in 2022, it was more, it was $5 billion. So we've been experiencing decrease of trade between two countries. How do you think countries can overcome this number, and why did that happen?
Well, there are many aspects for that. Certainly we are not living in the vacuum, and certainly if you look at the globalized context, certainly if you look at the perimeter of what's happening around Central Asia, the fragmentation of supply chain mechanisms certainly affect. That's why we are talking about middle corridors and diversification of economies. So, and certainly we see the global fragmentation of the economy in general sense, and this deflations or inflations of the global economy. So that's why I think it's very much important to for two countries to increase their cooperation in order to diminish global fluctuations and their influence on us. That's why I think it's very much important to improve practical and concrete steps between our countries, and specifically in the area of trade, transport, and transit. It's certainly the energy sector that will be very much important in the future decade.
Yes, as I already talked with the Uzbek expert yesterday on this, ahead of this visit of Shavkat Mirziyoyev to Astana, he said that these consortiums on water, energy, food and transport and logistics were already pronounced and proposed between Central Asian states back in 90s, and they were last year they were reactualized. And how do you think, can we expect that between two leaders today they will discuss these issues and maybe perhaps complete them and make them into realization on the upcoming meeting of Central Asian states?
I believe that that's one of the agenda, is to actually provide a clear and step-by-step solutions to some issues that might be the act as the barrier in the Central Asian region in general sense. Because if we are talking about water security or RLC, for example, or transit roads, that sometimes we see that customs we have different standards. That's why our business community spends much more time on the borders. That's why I think it's not just an issue between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, but at the same time for whole Central Asia, it's very much important. That's why I think these are practical topics to be discussed and to be solved. That's why I think those discussions on the level of heads of ministries, the ministers level, and or in the transport and in the energy sector, I think that's very much implementable and crucial for the solutions. So I think we have the background and platform to solve that.
And some experts also say that Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan can play important role and role of leaders in order to launch the energy market to start for Central Asia. What do you think of that? How it will impact, and how is it in general possible to create such a market?
It's commonly agreed that Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan are the biggest players in the Central Asian region, but at the same time, it wouldn't be fully a complete picture if we do not include Turkmenistan, for example, or Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. So I think all Central Asian 5 countries, or Central Asian 5, if we can say that, are instrumental in providing sustainability and prosperity for the region, for Central Asia in general sense, because we complete each other, and but certainly some countries should take a much more proactive role in driving the agenda forward, and I think Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan are the responsible actors and responsible players for the region that can change actually the momentum into really a positive momentum in this respect.
And as we've seen from last meetings of 2 leaders in Hiva, they say that they have a purpose to reach $10 billion this year. How is it possible, and what investment project do you think can be launched this year? Because now we can see that there is a investment projects going on in terms of infrastructure, in terms of machinery and household appliances, and even of infusion solutions in different cities of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. What's still missing? What still have potential to be started?
Well, I think if we're talking about the real trade volume, it's not just about the state-owned companies that are running the business or running the force between 2 countries, but at the same time, I think it's very much important for people to people, or B2B, the real private sector, where they're very much interested in improving the relationship. And this is where the border trade is very much important. When you have the clear-cut standards for doing business between 2 countries, it gives a clear and a positive message to the business owners and traders between our 2 countries. So I think this B2B, the people who are owning their own private enterprises, they are the very much important beneficiaries of the good neighborhood relations between our 2 countries. So I think one is IT sector. Certainly, Uzbekistan has very vibrant and growing IT community, and then they have Uzbekistan IT Park. We see a growing interest in the how Kazakhstan can actually provide their IT solutions in the sphere of venture capital, in the sphere of medtech, agrotech as well. So agriculture, where this is very much important, because Uzbekistan is one of the biggest partner in the agricultural sector for Kazakhstan, and we can actually provide and complement each other in the services sector, and certainly construction.
Construction, yes. I've been to Tashkent, and I must admit that some Kazakh companies are already entered to Uzbek market and changing their architectural view of the city by making their projects.
Yeah, I think that there is a growing construction boom overall in Central Asia. We see
because of the population, also growing population.
80 million people. We are having now more than 80 million people, and where, just to emphasize, almost 30% of the 80 million people are young generation. It's a youth that is very much vibrant, and by estimations that is given by United Nations, by 2040 we are going to have even more.
How much? Do you remember the numbers?
If we're talking about the percentage, it's average age for Central Asia at this time is 28.6, but by 2040 is going to be 28.3. It's even the population is going to be even younger. If you compare to North America, Europe, or China, for example, the average age is 41 or 43. So I think for Central Asia, it's a big momentum for real positive change, and this is where our youth can be one of those drivers for positive change. And this is where we need to bring our 2 cultures between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan together, and overall we need to have much more people-to-people exchange within Central Asia.
Speaking of cultures, we have many similarities and many, connections given to the history that we've been sharing for quite many decades so far. We have 500,000 of Uzbeks are living in Kazakhstan, as well as many Kazakhs are living in Uzbekistan, and now I've heard that during this year the number of tourists from Western Europe as well as from Middle East are coming not only for Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan separately, but they're having the trip, which is called one trip, whole region. So it's two countries combined in one trip. So we have a good connection and growing connection in travel, as well as culture and education. Even our Silkwood TV channel broadcasts in Uzbek language too. How would you comment on the people-to-people exchange between two countries? I mean, it's already big, but what can be also expected?
Well, I think you mentioned about tourism, and if you look at the kind of overall ever statistics, is that in Kazakhstan, the citizens of Kazakhstan, for them, Uzbekistan is in the top 5 tourist destinations. I think if you look at the facilities that Uzbekistan is building, actually is very much impressive. If you go to Samarkand, Khiva, Bukhara, and Tashkent in general sense, I think both these destinations are very much attractive to Kazakhstan, and certainly for Uzbeks who are traveling to Kazakhstan, they are very much interested to see the common links with Turkestan and, for example, Shymkent, that is very much close city and vibrant city for Uzbek tourists and business owners.
As well as for Kazakhs.
And for Kazakhs as well.
Yeah.
So I think this is very much important. We need to actually have much more mass media or PR marketing approach towards the tourism opportunities for Uzbekistan and in Uzbekistan for Kazakhstan. I think this is very much important to explain that we are not some distant countries. We share the same history, border, and at the same time, if you look at what President Tokayev mentioned in his latest article, actually,
yes,
that it's
published today.
Yeah, published today is that he mentioned about the common home, that we are maybe living in separate rooms, but we are living in the same home. So I think it's very much important that to focus on the possible renaissance of Central Asia, both economically, politically, strategically, on the security base as well, but certainly culture and people-to-people approach, where we can actually mention about our common history and certainly education. I think this is very much important when we are talking about university exchange programs, and we see that 9,000 students from Central Asia are now studying in Kazakhstan. It's very much important. And if you look at the latest and recent visit of AD of President Shavkat, Mirziyoyev, and the statement that were mentioned during the launch of the Zakwat intellectual games, it's very much important that the intellectual basement and platform for Central Asia is there. We need to actually reinvigorate. We have political will, we have economic power, and trade relations. The only step we need to make is by ourselves now.
Yes, and all these concepts on developing and renaissance even of Central Asia, in my regard, anyway, is focused on recreation of Silk Road that had been in our territory, and now we can see that between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan there is this Fergana-Sirdarya corridor being developed. And also two countries are taking part for launching the international transport Caspian international transport route, but there are some legs, that is missing still between the connection of 5 Central Asian states. So, what do you think in terms of this transport and logistics sector? This is the key, I think, apart from energy, can be also done on this matter.
This is a practical issue, and the questions are there certainly. And you rightly mentioned that we have a potential to increase our trade volume and increase our business potential potential in general sense overall Central Asia. We see that from 2018 till 2023, our trade overall trade volume in Central Asia has increased almost twice, it almost doubled actually, from 5.7 billion to 11 billion dollars. So it tells you about the growing stream of events that are improving our ecosystem. If you speak about trade and economic cooperation, but I think if we really improve transport and transit, or if you make really pragmatic steps and create a common standards for the regions, how we actually provide this transport and transit services along the Silk Road in Central Asia, I think we have a really good potential. And if we're speaking about increasing our trade volume between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan to $10 billion, we certainly need to make those steps to reach our goals.
Yes, thank you very much. And for those who have just joined Silkway TV channel, we were commenting on the state visit of Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev to Kazakhstan. And thank you for your time and answers, Inskander. Today I was joined by political analyst and scientist Inskander Akylbeav, who answered our questions regarding the agenda of the state visit of President of Republic of Uzbekistan to Kazakhstan. We will be following the upcoming events and we'll share it with you, so stay tuned and watch Silkway TV channel. See you later.